And as you know, we are trying to have we are trying to have many students as possible. So we tend to focus on the most difficult and the most challenging topics in SIP and SIP level 4. We may do SIP level 5, SIP level 6 in another event, but currently then most students still studying SIP level 4. So this is our focus here. Today, then we select a particular topic, okay, in C exam about L4M1. Why? Because as I can see from the principal marker report, okay, or PM report, which you can download from SIP website, students tend to perform quite poorly on this particular question number 4 in L4M1. So today, then I would help you to how to answer this kind of question and what kind of skills that you need to deliver the answer for this kind of question. Okay, currently we have 26 participants. Okay, and yeah, I think that you should be hurry, especially the ones that who are not currently with us today. They should be hurry. Okay, so if you know anyone who wants to who are about to take L4M1 exam soon, then please invite them to this event. Okay, so to start with, I think that I should say about the major problems with student when it comes to question number 4 in L4M1. The first thing is that student, although the exam doesn't provide any particular order for writing the answer, like you can prioritize anything, but students tend to have kind of like a sequence for the answer. Like they must answer question number 1 first, although it is not necessary. Within the exam screen, then you can select any question and you can answer in any order. And even when you're writing, first of all, the answer for question number 2, then absolutely you can switch back and answer the answer question number 1. Okay, so with the exam, then there is no limit, no requirement for you to do anything in order. And it is not necessary to do the things in order. So, however, the problem is that students tend to they tend to do the questions in order, and especially the first 3 questions tend to have something like very familiar or very easy question, and that may lead to like question number 4 stay very low in the priority, and student may have very little time to finish the question, and not enough time spending on this question would lead to poorer answer and lower performance. Okay, that is quite obvious. The second thing that many PM reports show me is that the assessor thinks that students tend to be very unfamiliar with question number 4. Question number 4, especially question number 4 are asking about different sectors in the economy, including the public, private, and third sector. The thing is, as you know, most students taking the exam are working in private sector. They are working in private sector. So they are not very familiar with public and third sector. That lead to poor answer if the question is asking about those sectors. Okay, and the third reason is that I think that it is some kind of like the writing skill of student. And the thing is, some students don't deliver the answer that the assessor wants. I will explain this later, but a very common type of question in in question number 4 here is that about the potential actions for procurement in particular scenario. So they're about actions. They want you to recommend action. If you only write about some objectives like reducing the cost, then that doesn't count. And you need to focus on the action, something doable action. So writing the answer in question number 4 would require some kind of like skill. And today, then I would like to help you to get that skill. First thing, with time, then we actually need to practice the time management skill. Time management skill. So with the exam, time is very scarce resource, and we cannot like expect that SIP give us forever to finish the question. Okay, so you have 3 hours and 4 questions. So approximately each of them should have 45 minutes. And each question has equal points, like 25 points. So they should be equal in the time that you allocate. Okay, so you must divide the time equally for each question, 45 each, and should not go over this. You may spend a little more time for a more difficult question, okay, and a little less time for easier question. Don't focus on easier question, like you may spend 1 hour in a question about fried rice, and then only 20 minutes about question about the third sector. That would lead to very unbalanced result. Like the fried rice, you got 21 points, but in the third sector, then you only get like 9. Okay, that's not enough, especially you have a big exam to do. So you need to allocate the time equally, and especially with the harder question, you need more time to brainstorm and structure on your answer. So I think that the time here you should spend more time focusing on more difficult question, not more time on finalizing um, the answer for easier question. Okay, and within each question, to utilize your time and also to prevent the writer block along the way, then you need to outline your answer first before develop them in details. Okay, like for example, with a question about like the objective of private sector, for example, then obviously you know about the 4 objectives like economic viability, expanding market share, the improved shareholders value, and CSR or social objectives. With those with your objectives, then you may need to list them in bullet point. Okay, just 4 points, and you have 45 minutes to fill in the gap. So you can allocate the time further, like 10 minutes for each point. Like what can be explained here, and then you may write the answer using that time. Okay, so by that way, then your answer would look like it would look fuller and metric higher score. Okay, so time management is absolutely it is an absolutely necessary skill that you need to master before sitting the exam. All right, so that is a quick note about time management skill. So what about the content of each question, the content of some question in question number 4 in this chapter 4? Okay, so to the event, then I would like to help you in some difficult topic. Okay, especially the topic that you may feel more challenging. and difficult to brainstorm the answer. Okay, you know that with chapter 4, they write about different sectors, majorly public sector, private sector, and third sector. For each sector, then they mention about something like the objectives, some features, the legislation, and most important is the impact on procurement. So let's focus on more challenging topic here. For example, let me start. Okay. Okay. Before that, then we need to talk about how we can structure the answer. Okay. Um, this is a very common theme in question number 4. In question number 4, um, they may want to ask you something like explain or describe the ways in which procurement may deliver something, like the ways in which the objective of economic viability may have impact on procurement. Okay, so like familiar. Actually, then if you look at the sample question from SIG website, then they provide very typical question. They ask about the impact or the effect of economic or getting profit or economic viability have on procurement. Okay, so what can be the effect? Okay, what can be positive or negative effect? This is the way that they love to frame their question number 4. Okay, the ways in which procurement may deal with something or something impact on procurement. So how should you answer in this kind of question? How should you answer in this kind of question? The thing here is that we need to write down about procurement action. We need to write down about procurement action. Okay, not just about the objectives, other objectives, human. Okay, we need to write down the action. What we can do to deliver the value to the organization. That is a point. That is the point. For example, the most typical one would be the objective of getting profit or improve the profit. Then your answer should include some actions like we need to have standardization, we need to conduct value analysis, or we need to renegotiate with key suppliers, okay, to get better price, to get higher quality, and so on. The answer should not include something like procurement should achieve more cost saving or provide more reliable product. That they are the objectives. Okay, there are some outcomes for procurement, not particular question. Sorry, not particular actions. We need to focus on the actions. Okay, so this is very important point. You need to deliver the things that assessor want to see. Here, it is about the actions, okay, doable actions for procurement. All right, so it's time for us to look at some key and most challenging topics in this chapter 4. The first question, I see that they come quite recently as a question. Um, as you know, some recent them like back in November 2023 or earlier. Okay, let me check with my table. As you know, then on our website, we have published a table of most recent exam. So the topics of most recent exam in L4M1 and L4M8. D for L4M1. Okay, so you see that in May 2024, we have a question about retail. March, then we have a question about legislation in public sector. In November, about third sector organization. Okay, in July, last July, then we have a private sector organization. You see that they kept like circling around some very common topic. Okay, public, third sector, private sector, and sometimes switch to retail or something like that. The questions here are very familiar. The thing is, many students don't know how to deliver the answer. That is my purpose today. We need to master the questions that may come. So one of the particular challenging topic, as I can see the complaint from student, it is about the legislation, both in public and in private sector. Okay, the problem is that as procurement, then we have a tendency leave the things that is not our expertise to other departments. Like with the compliance, then it should be the task of risk and compliance or legal department. So we may overlook some very important aspect of legislation and compliance in procurement. However, then this could be a question. So I think that you should do your homework here. All right. So with the question about the legislation or regulation, then it could be a little bit different for public and private sector, but essentially they share many similar aspects. And for this kind of question, then I think actually then within L4M4, we have very helpful table. We have actually very helpful table in part 3.1. Sorry, I don't remember the page number, but you can open L4M4 study guide, jump straight to chapter 3 and part 3.1. They have a very helpful table about the applicable legislations in procurement. So let's return to our question here. On my slide, then I'm showing the potential regulations for public procurement. Okay, so for public procurement, then you know that obviously they have some regulations on the procedure on procurement process, and that kind of procurement is quite obvious. Like they list some processes, some type procedures that procurement must follow, like open tendering, restricted tendering, competitive dialogue, and I don't know, like innovative partnership, etc. And that legislation also set up some principles like ensuring the competition, public accountability, and value for money. Okay, so this kind of regulation is pretty obvious for procurement. However, then as I said, many students don't work in public sector, so they may be quite unfamiliar to this. The thing is, you can overcome this one by searching from internet, and especially you may search for your country regulations on public procurement. Although the study guide mostly lists about UK and Europe regulations, but you may do your own homework. Like if you are living in South Africa or Malawi, then you may search for your respective public procurement law. Actually, then they should be free available online. And just a quick scan through about the principles and about some applicable processes from those legislations would be helpful for you to write in the exam. Like you may list the example from your own country rather than relying on SIP study guide and the example from UK, which you may not be very familiar with. And beyond this, then we still have other areas of legislation. One would be the public accountability, like what kind of information public procurement should publish and made it available to the public. Like they need to be accountable for the budget, or they need to be accountable for the criteria and the selection of the supplier. Okay, that is public accountability. Public procurement should be responsible for publishing the information and to disclose the information to the public. Okay, but these two are not the only areas for regulations in the public sector. We also have other areas or other subjects, like we had the regulations on the contract, kind of like what kind of contract we should engage, what kind of contract public agency should engage with the supplier, and what could be the limit or what could be the implied term for the contract between public sector and the private sector. Okay, we have the area like health and safety, where procurement need to establish some standard. First of all, if you purchase some project like construction, you need to ensure that the worker who works in that project need to be safe. Okay, they need to have sufficient protection gear. Okay, so you need to study about the health and safety regulations and ensure that everything you do, everything you purchase, comply with the relevant regulations. Okay, especially about health safety, both for the consumer and for the employees. And another area of potential regulation would be the about environment. And you may actually see this when it comes to whole assets management. Okay, like at the end of the life cycle, then we need to dispose. We need to dispose some assets, and it needs to comply with environment. Even with the earlier with earlier stages of whole assets management, then we still need to care about environment. Like we need to make it like biodegradable or more this sorry more environmental friendly, something like that. So environment is a potential area for regulations where you need to comply with standard here, and it applies to both public and private sector. Okay, so in this kind of question, they tend to ask you about 5 areas. Okay, so beyond this, then I think that you may have other areas as well. Okay, and this one may apply for both public and private sector. Okay, first of all, beyond this, then we may have the regulation on um, anti-corruption. Okay, absolutely applicable in um, public sector where anti-corruption measure tend to be stricter than in private sector. Okay, we may have the regulation on anti-corruption, on competition. Okay, avoiding the uh, monopoly or oligopoly. Hey, we may have, yeah, let me think about regulations about uh, consumer protection. Consumer protection and so on. Okay, so I'm listing the potential areas for regulations in public sector, and with private sector, then it would be a little bit different. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Javed. Worker welfare, antitrust. Thank you. Okay, that is the way that you may approach this question. However, then the key here is about you may listing the example. You may list the example. And that's why I require you to study your own country. Okay, spend a little bit time to search online, go to Google, type down your country name and relevant areas of legislation. Okay, like the environment regulations in India. Absolutely, they may provide you some very helpful website. Okay, maybe only briefly, but that's enough. Okay, because we only have very limited time for the exam. Of course, you're not allowed to use the internet or to open any document during the exam, but a few studies or a few research or some research before the exam would be helpful and help you to prepare better for upcoming exam. Similarly, when it comes to regulations or legislation in private sector, then you may come some idea in mind. Okay, like the things that I have at the bottom here. Okay, contract, anti-corruption, competition, consumer protection. With private sector, then we need to remove the regulations on the procedure and regulation on public accountability because that is not the responsibility from private sector. However, then private sector need to comply with the rules. Okay, some regard to their activities like about health safety or worker welfare or employee protection, consumer protection. Private sector may still need to comply with environmental matters or they still need to comply with the accounting and audit standard. Okay. So by this way, and I hope that from this event, then you know how to answer this kind of question, and it does not become your fear anymore. Okay. You all you think here is that it just learning from this and search for your relevant regulations in your own country. Okay, that would be very helpful. All right, so that is the first topic I want to share about potential legislation and regulations in uh, public and private sector. The second topic on private sector. Okay, although students tend to very familiar with private sector and the answer on explaining objectives of private sector tend to be much better than anything else. But the thing would change if SIP change the way of asking question. One example would be this kind of question. Okay, just like the one that I took example earlier. The question about require you to describe the ways or describe the action that procurement may assist the organization to achieve some kind of objective like expanding the market share or improving profit. You can absolutely find this kind of question from same website from their sample question and answer. Okay, go to SIP, and I'm showing an example from a SIP sample question as well. And here I'm downloading the sample question and answer for L4M1. Question number 4. We have a small scenario. Okay. The detailed scenario here is not very important, but let's focus on the question here. Let's focus on the question here. Okay. Discuss 5 ways in which the objective of economic viability through profitability at music press might impact on its procurement activities. Okay, so the very typical wording question from SIP, and I think that this same question provide a very illustrate a very good example about this. So with this kind of question, then how we may deliver the answer? How we may deliver the answer? Okay, so the thing is, first thing, you need to understand the question here. Okay, it asks about the impact of getting profit on procurement activities, right? There is another way to ask this question, like she may ask you like 5 ways in which procurement may deliver the improving profit at mission press. Okay, that would be different, and that may lead to different answer as well. But let's consider the type of question here first. All right, so it asks about the impact of profitability, economic viability through profitability on procurement activity. It's kind of like analyzing kind of like what kind of pressure that improving profit may have on procurement activity. Okay, so we want to get more profit. We want to get more profit. So what could be the impact on activities? Okay, or what kind of pressure may be put on procurement? All right, so let's see. Yeah, Jennifer, economic viability. Okay, in previous syllabus, then they use the word they use the word getting profit. But for new syllabus, then they use the word economic viability. It simply means the business should be profitable to stay afloat. Okay, it's very simple, but SIP tend to use kind of like more formal words like economic viability, right? So you need to be familiar with that. So economic viability is just a synonym for being afloat by being profitable. Okay, don't be kind of like freak out because of this kind of wording. All right, so let's return to the impact here, and you may find some instruction from SIP. Okay, below some instruction. Yeah. With this instruction, then they focus on both the positive impact and negative impact. They focus on negative first. Okay. It could create a pressure to reduce the expenditure, right? A pressure to reduce expenditure. It could lead to priorities would be the more important or higher expenditure. It could lead to more adversarial approach to negotiate. It could lead to poorer supply relationship because of more adversarial negotiation. But on positive side, and if procurement does this one correctly, then it could lead to better innovation, more creativity, or better design specification, higher waste direction, and so on, so on. Okay, so with the question about the impact, it means what could be the pressure that could what are the pressures that could be put on procurement shoulder. Okay, so it could be negative, like we may face higher pressure for negotiation, for adversarial negotiation, or for getting more discount, or so on. But it could be positive if we know how to organize procurement activity well. Like we could organize some VAVE sessions that may reduce the price while improving the quality, and so on. Okay, so with the impact, then kind of like we need to list about um, what kind of pressure procurement may face, and what could be the solution to get out of it. Okay, the pressure could be positive or negative. So just brainstorm anything that come across your mind. Okay, and don't be afraid of writing the answer. Um, okay, that is the first type question about the impact of some objective on procurement. Samuel, okay. So the thing is, many students are worried about their word count. They are worried about the word count. Okay, so long answer looks like very I think that you may see like long answer may be better attractive or more attractive to the assessor. But the thing is, it depends on your time and it depends on your writing skill. If you are a slow typer, then with only 45 minutes, then I think that you may not write more than like 300 or 400 words, as long as you may deliver the answer, as long as you may deliver a clear idea on the answer, then I believe that it would be um, very favorable. It would be easier for you to get higher score. Um, if you are a fast typer, then your answer could be a little bit longer. But longer answer may be kind of like quite meaningless if it doesn't focus on the right point here. So the right points are more important than the length of the answer. Okay. And it also depends, as I said, depending on your typing speed. So there are a lot of factors here. And I think that you should focus first on improving the quality of your answer rather than focusing on expanding the length of your answer. And I can say that what count doesn't matter. You have 45 minutes for a question. So at worst, then I think that you can still write like 200 or 300 words for the answer. Okay, that is the worst. Okay, that is the worst. Um, Normally then people can type like 400 to 500, but 200 or 300 are normal as well. So what kind doesn't matter as long as you may write quality answer. Okay, so let's continue on some practical question. Okay, so the first type question here about the impact of uh some objective like profit or market share on procurement. The second type about the ways that procurement may assist the organization to achieve something. Okay, so for this kind of question, then procurement may looks like it may be placed in more active role where it can propose or do something to advance the agenda of the organization. Okay, however, then some students still misinterpret this question. And instead of focusing on the action, they focus on some outcome, like reducing costs, something like that. So for this question, I need to stress that we need to focus on the actions. Okay. So for example, the objective of expanding market share may involve some action like, hey, we need to pull the need, we need to analyze, sorry, to perform value analysis, negotiation, etc. There's one way. There's one way that you may try to generate the ideas for your answer. Okay, this is the way that I brainstorm my answer. For example, we need to have kind of like a big objective here, like expanding the market share, expanding market share. So, I may ask myself to expand market share, then what are the to understand what customer needs, and essentially we need to take the customer from other competitors or attract new customer who may be using some alternative product. So essentially we need to attract them, and what might attract them? Okay, maybe about the price, maybe about the brand, maybe about the quality, maybe about the design, etc. Okay, anything that you might think. And each for each of these points, then I develop it further. Like with the price, then it should be attractive to the customer. So we need to lower price. And what what can procurement do to lower the price? Okay, so we have some options like using negotiation, pulling the need, or switch supplier, or using the competition to drive the cost down, or purchasing from overseas to save the cost. Okay, or leveraging the economies scale using single source on and so on. There are a lot of options here. Okay, about the price. How about the brand? Okay, so we need to improve our brand awareness, our brand image. With this one, then maybe more investment in marketing activity would be necessary. Okay, but it's not much about procurement function. It's not much about procurement action, but it is more like marketing actions. How about the quality? Absolutely, procurement can have this. Okay, we may conduct like value analysis or standardization to improve quality while maintaining or even improve the price or improve the cost base. Okay, so with this kind of question, then the focus should be on the things that procurement can do. Okay, we need to break objectives into smaller and achievable outcomes. But the outcome is not, they are not the things that assessor may want to see. They want to see you to list the action. So we need to translate the outcome into doable actions. Okay, this diagram provide much better visibility. Okay, so with the price, we need to lower price. We may do value analysis, negotiation, or competitive tendering. With efficiency, then we may need to invest in productivity, focusing on return investment, spend your time to analyze the whole life cost, and so on. Okay, so again, very important point, focusing on the actions, not on the outcome. Let me see the recent comment. Okay, so I see some concerns from students like Naveen, Ada, or Jennifer. Okay, so the problem is that they struggle with the case study scenario, and what should we do about that? Of course, I think that it would be easier for you to answer the question without scenario. With scenario, then the thing would be a little bit different. They would be a little bit different because you need to link between your answer and the scenario. The thing is, okay, the thing is, with SIP exam, okay, they recently after the change in 2018, they provide a question with a lot of scenario. Most questions will have a scenario, okay, except some occasions. This applies for both L4M1 and for L4M8. And what could be the difference between the question with scenario and question without scenario? So let me take the same question as an example. Okay, so we have a small scenario here, not too long, but provide enough information. Okay, and you may see that the way they approach the answer. The thing is, actually, then with a scenario, then you just need to customize your answer. Just need to customize your answer to adapt better to the scenario situation. To scenario situation. Okay, so you may see that in this answer, although they are talking about some impact, but they rarely um they rarely are addressing it to the scenario problems. Okay, so in scenario, we have a name, we have a milkshake press, we have some information like they operate in some markets and they operate some flavor like chocolate, banana, strawberry. But nothing about chocolate, banana, or strawberry, or China, or UK present in the answer. Okay, this is not the way you should approach. Actually, then you may know the points like the pressure on focusing on the duration expand may have some impact, may put some pressure on procurement, and you may write further to make it more relevant to the scenario. Like in the case of milkshake, okay, then what would happen? Okay, like in the case of milkshake, then the procurement team may be too focusing on the additional expenditure. They may ignore the potential opportunity to collaborate with the supplier. Like they may ignore the opportunity to expand the market in China. Okay, so just by some name dropping or link to the scenario, to link to the scenario, just simple like that. Okay, you don't need to do something extraordinary. Actually, yeah, sorry, I need to remove the your ability to uh write something on my screen. Okay, and I need to block the ability to write on my screen as well. All right, so don't worry. You don't see any. You won't see any drawing. Okay. All right. So with question with scenario, then it is not it is not that impactful on your answer. You just need to remember to name drop the company name in the scenario, or write something about them. Okay, that is enough for linkage. That is enough for linkage. Okay. Normally, if we remove the scenario and we keep the question, then they are not that significant. Okay. With the scenario, then absolutely I think that you can answer this question, right? But with scenario, then you just need to learn how to customize your answer, like name drop, name drop the thing here. Okay, name drop the company name here, and explain a little bit about the potential situation and so on. Okay, so for question with scenario, then name dropping is an applicable strategy, and you should not be worried or anxious about question with scenario. They are kind of like decorative, but don't make them um challenge. Don't make them a challenge. Okay, so that is another topic that I think most students struggle with about the impact of some objectives on procurement. Um, the next topic I want to share is about the third sector. This time, even the question without scenario, but students still perform poorly because, as I said, most of most students don't work in this sector, but they work in private. So the objective of tester tend to be quite strange to them. All right. So however, unfortunately for you, with state exam, especially for question number 4, they tend to love asking about third sector because SIP itself is a third sector organization. So you need to prepare for every possible scenario, not just focusing on what you are good at, like private sector. Okay, so on the slides, then I'm instructing how you may deliver the answer for third sector. Okay, to understand the objective of third sector, then you need to know that third sector is not kind of like an unified sector, but they have many subcategories and many different objectives. Okay, and to simplify, then I need to categorize the third sector into 3 groups. The first group would be the association. It would be the association. SIP itself is the association, and they tend to provide the service to the members. Like SIP provide the training, SIP provide the event to improve the ability of their members. And the same thing happened to other association. There could be association, for example, for logistic companies or for um, diamond companies in, for example, Botswana, in Botswana. And that association would kind of like um, have the members to lobby for change or provide some financial assistance or provide some connection to advance the members. Okay, so association is an important part of the sector where they provide mostly the services to the member. However, they are not very typical sector organization. More typical one would be the charity organization, where they receive donations and then distribute and provide some charitable services like they take care of the elderly and the orphan children, or they provide help to the poverty area. Okay, provide finance and assistance to disadvantaged people. They're charity, so they have kind of like different activities. And the third group would be the pressure group, where they want to raise the awareness about some particular concern like climate change or um, pollution. They want to have the change, so they advocate that. and lobby the change from legislation and other things. So there are at least 3 types of trusted organization, and each of them may have diverge objectives. Okay, so I think that you just need to remember the types, and then with the objective, then it comes naturally. With the association, then they provide the member services, just like I said. Okay, with the pressure group, they want to raise the awareness. With the charity, they provide charitable activity. They want to improve the society from their actions. And also with the charity, to execute the charitable activity, then they need to attract donation. Okay, so on. So you see that if you understand there are 3 types of organization, then it will be easier for you to recall the objectives for these organization. Beyond this, then there another question about the features about the features of tested organization and the impact on procurement. So here, then also you also need to understand the nature of tested organization and recall the feature correctly. Okay, so Tesla also have regulations like in UK, they have a piece of legislation on this, like the Charity Act, and also Tesla has the public accountability. They need to publish their account to okay, they need to publish their account and let the auditor and other um, independent party to look at that and have some kind of like supervision. With finance, then Tesla organization has kind of like quite strict and limited budget. And if they earn some kind of profit or income from the activity, then this thing should not be paid to shareholder, and they must be reinvested. They must be reinvested in the activities. Okay, and with the value, then they present a cost. They present some value. All right. Again, just like with the question about private sector, then we need to explain what could be the impact on procurement. If you remember each of these things, then the characteristic or the impact would be easier. It would be easier. Okay, so first of all, the objective of rise awareness or presenting a cost, it would put a pressure for procurement to be ethical, responsible, and align themselves to the organization objectives. They need to align themselves to the organization objective. So they need to have very clear the code of conduct and should not engage in unethical supplier and ensure that the whole supply chain is clean and ethical, even though it means higher cost. Because people would judge. If you do something against your value, then people may see that you are um, hypocrite. Okay, that kind of thing. So procurement here need to be ethical and ensure that the whole supply chain is ethical as well. Another thing about something like attract donation. If you want to attract donation, then you should be effective. Okay, and it would raise another concern for value for money. The project must provide clear return for the society, of course, and not for the organization, but it should provide some good result for society or for the members. Another point, like when donation is a major source of income, then there will be some donor who may have great influence because they provide a large sum of money. So for this case, then thus the organization should have clear policy on gift and donation activities. The donation should be clean and it should have like um, it should be clean and ethical. Okay. Second, then the third organization should communicate clearly. They should communicate clearly that they would not be subject for influence of some major donor, some major donors. Okay, it is also very important since solicitor receive donation and the donor may want to shape the action as their will. So a clear policy on gift and donation would be important here. Okay, we may list other features like with the limited budget, then procurement should be efficient and provide good value for money. It should focus on the whole supply chain rather than just focusing on the purchase price. Okay, that's the thing that we already know. And on public accountability, then procurement need to be transparent and provide the necessary audit trail for the organization. Okay, so that is the way that we may write about the question about the third party, sorry, the third sector. And the final topic that you may see, okay, from recent exam about the retail or manufacturing sector. Okay, this kind of question recently it become more relevant because I don't know they have changed the syllabus, so they make this question more frequently. Okay, so how we can address these kind of question? How we can address this kind of question? Typically, for writing the answer, then you need to understand the nature of purchasing for manufacturing and purchasing for retail. With retail, then the purchase is to purchase the finished product, and the purpose is to resell. So the product range will be very wide, and you need to adapt quickly to customer demand. And the capital investment in retail would be very different. You need to invest in the warehouse, in the cold chain, in the brand. Okay, why in manufacturing? Then you need to invest in the machinery, in the facility, in the technology. But with retail, then the biggest assets will be the warehouse and the refrigerator. And with retail, because of wide product range and multiple substitute supplier, then the relationship tend to be shallower than in manufacturing. While we have some key material, and we need to establish some more important relationship with the supplier. Okay, so also with each of these points, then you may analyze the impact. Like when we purchase or resale, then procurement must collaborate with our department, like with marketing, sale, to update with the trend in the market and make the purchasing decision correctly. Because of facing the consumer directly and purchasing finished product for direct consumption, then procurement may need to pay extra attention to the health safety. Okay, and supplier must meet the minimum safety qualification to when we consider to purchase from them. Uh, with most demand are independent, then procurement need to pay close attention to forecasting and monitor the demand accordingly. Okay, so with independent demand, then we need to forecast rather than using BOM or MRP to manage them. With large product range, then inventory management and category management would be very important. We may need to use barcode or RFID technology to manage huge range of product. And with some relationship, then because of share relationship, then we may need to focus on contract management, like using KPI, SOA, and so on. And with the capital investment, then focusing on whole like cost and return on investment would be necessary. Okay, but for this point, capital investment, it is typically the same with manufacturing as well. Yeah, I received some questions from student, like from Kia Rabile Biwe. The co-supply chain means the you know that sometimes the supermarkets, mostly supermarkets sell the fresh fruit, fresh meat, and fresh fish possible. And the thing is, these food items are very perishable. They are easily degraded in now condition. So the cold supply chain is just about having cold facility, industrial cold facility for storage of food. Like we have very big refrigerator for storage of fish and meat before selling it to the consumer. Okay, that is cold supply chain. And with the cold supply chain, we have the cold warehouse and the truck for transportation with cold, with also refrigerator. And these items, of course, they consume energy. They are more expensive, and of course, you need to consider about the whole like cost as well because they cost a lot of money to operate and maintain them. Okay, I also see some requests from students to share chapter 1, 2, and 3 questions. Because of the difficulty of chapter 4, so we focus on this first. For question number 1, 2, and 3, then I think that you may visit our practice question on Udemy. Currently, we have a promotion, and you may apply the code Lucky July with a space. Sorry, Lucky July 24 with the spaces to our practice question, and you will get the best price. Okay, so this is the way that you may support us, and we would appreciate your effort and participation in this event. Okay, with the recording, then we will send them on Monday when we come back from work. You know that today is Saturday, and okay, I don't want to work on Sunday. So on Monday, then we will send the recording. I hope that from Monday to the exam date, then you have enough time to review. Okay, so if you have any further concern, then here is our contact. You can WhatsApp us with the number on our screen, or you may write us some feedback to our email. okay, at eprocurement@eprocurement.edu.vn. And our website also provide a lot of helpful information that you may see. Okay, first of all, the recent exam topics for CR and focus areas for our exam. All right. So that's all for today. So that's all for today. And I hope that all of you will get the best result from this July exam. Yeah, of course, we'll share the slide as well. Okay, so thank you very much for joining, and wish you all the best for the July exam. Good luck and goodbye.